Hello everybody, my name's Alex, and today we're going to be going over how to clean and maintain a Ptac unit. We'll be going over how to clean the coils, how to clean the heating coil, just overall general care and maintenance of a Ptac unit. So before we get into how to clean the Ptac unit, these are some of the tools you will need to clean the Ptac unit properly. You have a steamer, you have a bit that is 5/16 and 1/4. Those are the size of the bolts and screws on the Ptac unit. Then you're going to need some coil cleaner, a little bit of canned air, never hurts, a stiff brush, and a vacuum cleaner. Now, starting the process to clean this, you're going to have to remove this shroud and this fan blade in here in order to clean this coil properly, because what you see back here may look like the coil is pretty free and clean of any debris, and you can see through it a little bit, but what you don't see is on the inside of all the cotton, lint, and everything that is trapped on the other side. So taking this off is pretty important to clean this properly. Now, there's also a little door right here, 2 screws, boom, boom. We're going to want that open, so when we clean this out, any dirt and grime or anything else can be either wiped out or vacuumed through this door. Alright, so we're going to start by removing these screws. These are 1/4 size screws. Get that open, and then you can remove this screen right here and you're able to get in there and clean that out better. Alright, now we're going to move on to this shroud right here. That is also a 1/4 size screw. We're going to back that out, set that down, and now we can start taking this shroud off. So you're also going to want to remove this plate right here. It just makes it easier to get the shroud off and to put it back on when you do. So you're going to take your 1/4 screw. Going to pull those 2 bad boys out. Alright, see, I got that removed. Make sure you're putting all your screws in one place so you don't lose them, because we all know that's a pain to hunt down and find something to put back in there. So since I got that off, I'm going to slowly start taking the plastic shroud off here. You got to be a little careful because you don't want to break the coil. Once in a while you may need something to help pry these little clips off. Camera down here a little bit better so you can see it. So you see these clips right here, they should be popping out. Now, they don't, just a little bit of work, bam, you got it. And you can see that some of these have broken. We can order new ones of these if they are in that bad of condition and replace them. Now, since I got that off, I'm going to come over to this other side over here and do the same. Now you got the shroud, able to move, wiggle it around. You see you can get at the fan now. Right here, you see that slot right there? You're going to need an Allen wrench. That is 5-32 for the size. You can take your Allen wrench, slide it in there, and you're going to loosen the fan. Alright, now once that's loose, you should be able just to wiggle it. Alright, pull that fan out. You can see the fan is pretty darn dirty too. So you got that out. Now you can lift up the shroud and remove that. Once that's removed, you can see how dirty that coil is on the inside there. So our next step is going to be to get the vacuum and start cleaning all this stuff up here. Clearly you can see this needs to be cleaned. You got rust, debris, everything. So I'm going to take the vacuum. Now, we're going to do pretty much the same thing to the coil. We're going to vacuum it before we add any coil cleaner to it. So you're going to take your stiff brush right here, and you can see right here there's just a buildup of that and everything. So you're just going to start brushing that off best you can. Pretty dusty, right? So it starts kicking up like that. I like to take the vacuum. I like to take the vacuum with it. Alright, now we are on to the part of using coil cleaner. You can see from the vacuuming how clean that got in comparison to what it was. Taking your coil cleaner, you're going to soak the whole thing. We're going to want it to let it sit a little bit before we bust out the steam cleaner and finish the coil up. Just give it a good hosing. Alright, we're going to move on to the steam cleaning portion for this coil. You want to work your way down. So I like to start at the top and work my way down the coils. Now this is going to take a little bit for you to do it the right way, but it is well worth it. So you can clearly see from a combined process of vacuuming, brushing the coil, using coil cleaner, and steam cleaning it, this coil is clean. You can see right through it. That's what we want. This will help prolong the life of the Ptac unit and the coil itself. Next step will be putting it all back together. Alright, now we're going to proceed to put the shroud back on and the fan for the external coil. Sometimes you gotta wiggle this bad boy in here. Alright, now don't forget, you gotta put your fan blade back on before you can put this all the way on. Make sure you're having this portion face external part of the Ptac unit. We're going to slide that back on there, and these shaft motors are not completely rounded. They are flattened on one side, so that way the set screw or whatever type of screw it is has something to clamp on. So make sure you're paying attention to that when you're putting these on. Alright, once you get it in place, tighten her down. Alright, once you got it tightened down, you can slide your shroud back into place. Alright, have it back in place. Now the next step is taking your screws and putting those back in. Sometimes you may have to hand do it. Alright, we're going to put that screw in. Now we're going to put this piece back on. Now, it makes it a lot easier to do that when it's not screwed in. Alright, the next step in this process, we're going to remove this screen and we're going to vacuum all this up. Then we're going to pull out the heating coil, clean that, clean inside there, pull the fan blade out if needed, and we're going to get that all clean, then we're going to put this back together. Alright, now when it comes to taking off your protective screen, that's going to be 5/16. I'm just going to pull those off right there. Remember, set your screws in place where you remember them. Get that out of there. Alright, so you need your vacuum and your stiff brush again. We're going to clean all this out right here before we pull the heating coil out. It just saves on the mess. Now there's two screws holding this particular model's heating coil in. You got one right here and one right here, and those are going to be the 1/4 size bit. We're going to pull those out. Now, you should be able to pull this up and out. Just remind yourself. Keep in mind, there is a wire that is hooked to this. That is the internal wire that controls the heat and the cooling that comes out of this. So just keep that in mind when you're taking this out. And there's wires that are hooked up to the electrical also here, as you can see them. So we're gonna want to undo those. Little tough there. Okay, once you get those wires off, this is what we're looking at here. You can see the coil isn't too bad. We'll just want to make sure we get these cleaned off. Take your can air. I'm just gonna blow it off. this is a great time to look at your electrical components on there as well, and the wires, just to make sure that these aren't burnt or charred or anything like that, because we want to think of safety first when we're putting these back together. All right, now we're going to move on to cleaning the front coil. Pretty much going to do it the same way as we did the back coil. We're going to vacuum it off, brush it from both sides, then you're going to hit it with some coil cleaner, then let it sit and steam clean it. Alright, I got the coil vacuumed off now, front and back. And we're just going to do the same thing again. You're going to take your coil cleaner. Give it a good coating. Then we're going to let it sit for 5-10 minutes again. Then we're going to take the steam cleaner and clean all this out. Then while you have the steam cleaner, take it and begin to steam clean the whole inside out. Remember that door, we can push it out that way and wipe it out. Alright, now we're going to move on to the steam cleaning portion of it. Same process, you're going to start yourself up at the top. And just gradually work your way down this coil. Alright, now we're going to move into cleaning the internal coil. Alright, now we're going to pull the fan out so we can finish cleaning the rest of this out. You're going to need a rag just to finish wiping this out, maybe a little spick and span or something. But you're going to take your Allen wrench again, you're going to locate that bolt there, put that in there. Alright, now I'm going to take this to the wash sink, clean it out. Now you can clearly see that gives you better access to finish cleaning this. Alright, now you can see I have it on a little bit of an angle. That is to drain everything out through the back door. You can see how good of a cleaning I got in there. Doesn't have to be perfect, we just want to get rid of all the mold and dirt and grime that build up in there. Alright, now we're going to put the fan back in. Make sure you have that flat part of the shaft up, because on the back of the fan it does matter. Get that lined up in there. And slide that back on, tighten it down, make sure you get it good and tight. And once you're done with that, you can move on to putting the heating coil back in. Gotta get that Allen wrench out now. Alright, now putting the heating coil back after you clean it off. You're gonna take the wires. The long one goes back up here, the shorter one goes back to here. Then don't forget you got your internal thermometer. You gotta slide that back in through this portion right here. That's the protective covering, so you want to slide it back through there before we put this back together. So I always find it easier to do it like this. Putting it back, make sure you're getting the wires in that little corner right there, so that way they don't get pinched or crimped when you're sliding it back in. Make sure you're guiding the wires too, because you can see right there how it wants to bunch up on the coil. We don't want that. Alright. It's always a bit of a trick to get these back in place. Make sure you don't get that yellow wire pinched either. So like I said, that is the thermometer for the internal part of this. Alright. And you just take this, slide it back through the little thingy back here. Alright, then you're going to take your 2 screws. We're going to put this back into place and we'll get the screen back on. Alright, last thing we got to do is put the screen on, and that is how you PM Ptac properly. Like I said, this is going to save us a lot of money by doing this. I recommend doing it when we PM our rooms, just to pull that out and PM that as well. I feel that's probably the best way to do it. Now, when you're PMing these, it needs to be done once a year. So once you get it done and out of the way, you're done with it for the year. Stay tuned for part 2. I will be showing you how to repair and how to diagnose a Ptac unit and what the error codes mean. Thank you.